Man, what a bombshell that dropped yesterday on in the college football world. And now we're going to discuss it on Pigskin Frenzy. I mean, why not? It's the place to do it. The day before the Thursday episode, I mean, why not, right? Not a lot of college football this weekend. We have the Army-Navy game and the Heisman Trophy ceremony, which we're going to discuss that. But mainly, we just get ready and prepare for bowl games and the college football playoffs. So we're supposed to have Trent Ritchie on the show today, our correspondent for the show, but he had some other things he had to take care of today, so he will not be joining us, but we will get him back on for a quarterfinal recap once we get back from Christmas break, because we have an announcement on that at the end of the episode. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Pigskin Frenzy on this beautiful Thursday afternoon. Thank you for joining us. I'm Joel Norris, and whether you're watching on YouTube, listening on Spotify, listening on Podbean, or listening on Apple, a big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel. Like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at pigskin_frenzy. Follow, like the pages there, and the website is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, we are at 6,300 listeners and counting. We just crossed that threshold, and we're so pumped, man. We're so fired up. We cannot thank you guys enough for tuning in each and every Tuesday and Thursday, for listening to Pigskin Frenzy on all platforms. We could not do this show without you guys, and most importantly, we could not do this show without our Lord and Savior, Jesus. We give him all the glory, all the praise. Guys, if you want to come to know him, contact me on X and Instagram at pigskin_frenzy, and the website has a contact info down below, which is www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. It's the best decision you can ever make in your life, is coming to know Jesus as your Lord and Savior, because without him, we would not be in college football media. We would not be doing Pigskin Frenzy, and we give him all the glory and all the praise for being in college football media and doing Pigskin Frenzy. But this is not only his show, this is our show, and we're so thankful, guys, that y'all are just plugging in, engaging with me, and we're keeping up with Pigskin Frenzy, and we're all just talking about what we want to talk about, right? And what's happening in the college football world is chaotic. So we're going to go over the college football carousel first, obviously, because there's no really big games to predict. But so it's kind of a reset week, if you will, a rest week before we get in to what's happening, with the playoff next Thursday, because we got a very special guest on for the playoffs next Thursday, and we got a bowl media picker for bowl games on Tuesday, which is going to be awesome. And not only that, man, it's just a reset week, right? And we're going to get ready for the playoff next week. We're going to get ready for the bowl games. We're just going to take a little bit of a breather, right, from doing an actual game. So, even though we will talk a little bit about Army-Navy, and I'll like a slight prediction on that one. Man, the coaching carousel just got rocked yesterday, ladies and gentlemen, and it's big. Let me go on and tell you something. It is literally like, fire in the hole. A grenade was just, it just thrown into the literally in the middle of the field, and you're like, oh, go, let's flee, run. And it happened. It was a big, kind of a shock a little bit to me. Michigan has fired head coach Sharon Moore. This is with cause. A investigation internally, which all this came out yesterday, happened due to and I quote, inappropriate relationship with a staffer. And I think it was another affair case that has happened, because Sharon Moore is, I believe he's a married man. So with that being said, I'm pretty sure the staffer, I don't know anything about the staffer. I don't know if she's fired or let go. I don't know anything about that. But here's what we do know, that Sharon Moore is no longer the head coach at Michigan. What I'm about to say is I don't want anybody to ruffle any feathers. I'm not saying this because of what he did. This is not about what he did. But I'm just going to be real. I think they can go out there and replace him. And I don't mean that in a very ugly way. He did like his job at Michigan. I'm not saying that. Your actions have consequences, though. And this was a shining example of it. Whatever you do and it comes out into the light that you're not supposed to be doing, it happens. Happens all the time, at least in the workspace. It happens all the time in the workspace. Happens all the time. You lose jobs and you lose credibility and you lose your career because of stuff like this. So I'm not saying I'm not glad. I pray for Sharon Moore, and I pray that everything works out okay for him. And I'm praying for his family, and I'm praying for everybody involved in this. With that being said, let's talk college football with this, though. I think they can go out and get another guy. And what I mean by that is I think Michigan is a top 10 to top 15 job in the sport. They're the winningest college football team, at least, stat-wise, right now in the sport. And they are. All they do is win. The brand is powerful. When I'm saying powerful, it is powerful. The resources are there. The big house, Ann Arbor, Michigan, the school, the university, the alignment is all there. It's all there at Michigan. They just came off of a national championship. It's 2025. In the 2023 season, they won the national championship. So they came off of 2 seasons ago, a national title and a Big Ten title, a three-peat at the Big Ten championship, by the way. Three-peat at the Big Ten title. So yes, they're coming off of a huge run with Jim Harbaugh, 2 seasons with Sharon Moore, and now we're here at this point. Can I be real? I think they could have contended in 2026 with Sharon Moore. I do. I do think they would have had to make some staff changes, though. Well, now you're going to make a whole staff change, but it could be for the better, depending on who you get. Now, a lot of people, and this is what I'm hearing, or what I'm seeing and reading and hearing, Kalen DeBoer is going to be at the top of the list. Here's my thing. Again, and I said it about Penn State, I'm going to say it now. Why would you want to leave Alabama for Michigan? And that's nothing to do with Michigan. I just hyped up Michigan just a minute ago on how great the job is, because it's a great job, a great program. Top 10 job in the sport is Michigan. The brand is insane. But Alabama's a better job. To me, Alabama's the best job in college football. Hands down. I think it's the best job in college football because of the history and the prestige behind it that was left by Nick Saban. He made that job what it is today. The resources are insane. The brand is powerful. A lot of people are going to be like, oh, it's Tuscaloosa. Have you seen Tuscaloosa? I've seen Tuscaloosa. Alabama's a better job. If you're talking about just pure college football, Alabama is a better job. It's a more powerful brand as well. I think nowadays it's a more powerful brand. Michigan's always been a powerful brand. I think nowadays it is a powerful brand because Michigan's a really powerful brand. Now, you're not going to hurt yourself going to Michigan, I don't think, because Michigan, you're going to have success there. And I believe Kalen DeBoer, if he did leave, will have success there. But I believe that he can probably still try to do something in Alabama. And a lot of people are going to say, "What, dude, you seen what they're doing now?" Yeah, they're in the playoff. He got them to the playoff. Even though they're a 3-loss team, they're playing Oklahoma next Friday night. So, yeah, they're in. Even if they lose this season, what's going to happen next season and the next season? He could probably win a national title at Alabama if he wanted to. To me, if I'm Kalen DeBoer, I would stay and be patient in Alabama. I think the resources are there. I think the talent's there. The brand is there. It's all aligned there. And I think that, yes, Michigan is aligned. Everything's good there, but Alabama's just a better job. In my honest thoughts, the prestige is just too good to ignore at Alabama to leave for a Michigan or to leave for Ohio State or anybody. Alabama to me is the best job due to the history that Nick Saban left behind there, and then the history that he built up there, and the credibility that he built up there when he was the head coach there. That's just my thoughts. Now, here's my honest thoughts on who I think could be realistic possibilities. I don't know why I thought about these names. I did think about Kalen DeBoer yet for a little bit, and they may pull a stunner. Kalen DeBoer may leave. I don't know. I just don't think it will happen. I think, and I don't know why I keep thinking this, a lot of people are going to, I will say this, a few names. I don't know why I thought about Jedd Fisch, but I did, from Washington. I thought Jedd Fisch. I thought about Lincoln Riley from USC because I think you're like, that's such a weird move. Why would you said it just a couple of weeks ago he wouldn't leave USC? Well, didn't know the Michigan job was going to open up either. I think Michigan's a heck of a job, and it's enticing enough for him to leave USC for. I really do. Here's an interesting one, and a lot of people are going to be like, dude, no. Did you see what happened this season? I don't know why Brian Kelly keeps popping in my head, but Brian Kelly keeps popping in my head for this job. And it may not happen. I'm not saying it's going to happen or it is going to happen, but I don't know why Brian Kelly keeps popping up in my head for this job. So, yes, he didn't do well at LSU. I mean, he did okay, but not well to the standards of an LSU, right? But he did great at Notre Dame, obviously. He's like the winningest, second winningest, or first, I think he's the winningest coach in Notre Dame history, right? So, could he replicate that success at Michigan, the Notre Dame success at Michigan, and win out and try to make the playoff every year with Michigan? I don't know. I don't know. Would it be an interesting hire? It would be an interesting hire. But we're going to see what Michigan does. I don't know. But I don't know why Brian Kelly popped up in my head, but he did. He really did. And I think the question is, can he replicate the success that he had at Notre Dame at Michigan? Discount LSU. Notre Dame, Brian Kelly, comes to Michigan. Can he do the same thing that he did at Notre Dame and at Michigan? Could he do it? I don't know. I think Michigan wants to try to compete for another national title, though. So maybe, just maybe, Kalen DeBoer is the hot name. I think the other options are more likely than Kalen DeBoer, but we will see what happens. But this whole thing's just a grenade, man. It literally was a grenade yesterday, and it dropped on me, and I was like, what just happened? So it's crazy, man. It is very crazy what's going on in the land of the Big House. What's going to happen in the Big House? Who knows? I think they're going to have they're playing in the Citrus Bowl, right? It is going to be a very interesting game there. We'll see what happens in that game. But they're going to try to have a head coach by January 2nd because that portal window is going to open up and it can come flying. So we're going to see what happens. Now, a lot of people are going to say, what's going to happen to the talent there? Most notably, a quarterback by the name of Bryce Underwood. What's going to happen there? A lot of people are going to be a little bit worried about what's going to happen there. I don't know anything about that yet, but I will say this. It is a thing to keep an eye on, I think, when it comes to this stuff, especially when, stuff like this happens. So we're going to have to see what happens. His firewood calls, no buyout is there. Michigan is automatically numero uno, the best job on the market right now. It's the job that I really did not see opening up. I'm going to be frank, dude. I did not see this coming. I was shocked when I saw it, and I was shocked when I found out the details about what was going on behind the scenes at Michigan. It seems like Michigan just cannot get away from the scandals. You really can't. It seems like they really just can't get away from what is happening, with scandal-wise. So I don't know. I just don't know. That's a turnoff on people. I don't think it should be a turnoff for people to go to Michigan, but I don't know. We'll see. But if I think the biggest green flags for Michigan is the brand, the resources, the facilities. The NIL budget is probably through the roof. It's a top 10 to top 15 job in college football, no doubt. So, and they have a rich championship history as well. And they can compete at the top of the Big Ten every year with the talent, with some of the talent they can bring in through NIL and the portal, and even in high school recruiting as well. So, with that being said, we're going to see who Michigan gets. We'll keep an eye on on everything as it develops more, and we'll discuss more on the Michigan topic and what's going on there. But that's a very interesting topic. It took up 14 to 15 minutes of our time as we start our show, but that's what's going on there. We got three more coaching carousels to talk about. We're going to quickly preview and predict Army-Navy rivalry, and we're going to talk about the Heisman Trophy ceremony and finalists and give our predictions on who's going to win it and wrap up our show. Not a very long episode today for Pigskin Frenzy, but let's talk about Penn State, because Penn State finally got their guy, and Penn State hired Matt Campbell from Iowa State. I said on X, I believe, that Jeff Brom or Matt Campbell are the two guys that I would go after because they were having a very tough time finding a head coach. It's no secret. Then they said that they had a meeting with Matt Campbell, and it's working up a deal to offer him the job, and there was rumblings that he was going to take it. Lo and behold, he did take the job, and he is now the head coach at Penn State. The recruiting class is in dire need for high school recruiting, by after first Wednesday of February. After that is in dire need of fixing. Yes, they're going to have to utilize the portal come January 2nd for sure, but it is in dire need to go up a little bit, So I think 2026 is kind of a hit due to the long nature of the search. However, do I think that they're going to have a good 2027 recruiting class? I expect them to bounce back big in 2027, and I expect them to bounce back bigger in the years to come because I love this hire. I think Matt Campbell is a really good football coach. He's a player's coach. He is a great motivator. He is a guy that you hear him, you're going to want to run through a brick wall for him. You want to fight for him. You want to play for him. And he is an amazing guy, amazing coach. And he loves coaching football, and he loves developing football players. I think Matt Campbell is the guy for Penn State, and he embodies what Penn State can represent. Developing great student athletes and helping them reach their highest potential. I think that's what embodies Penn State, and I think Matt Campbell is an excellent fit for that. I really do. I think he's gonna do well at Penn State. That's just my take on it. A lot of people are gonna think, have different opinions. That's fine. I believe that Matt Campbell will do good at Penn State. I really do. I think it's a good hire. Iowa State ended up hiring Jimmy Rogers. We're going to see how that turns out. In the long run, he did okay at Washington State, so it may be a really good fit for him at Iowa State there. So we're going to see what happens there with Iowa State. But Matt Campbell at Penn State, I think a very unique hire and a good hire for Penn State. So that's my thoughts on the Penn State hire, but I'm kind of excited to see what happens with the Nittany Lions come next year and beyond. Let's talk about the coordinator hires because these are very interesting. 2 coordinator hires, and I think they're interesting. I really do. We'll start with Tennessee because Tennessee has relieved and let go of Tim Banks as their defensive coordinator. He is fired. He's no longer there. They are looking for a defensive coordinator. It turns out that Matt Campbell is not retaining Jim Knowles. And Jim Knowles will no longer be the defensive coordinator at Penn State. They bought him out. And lo and behold, Tennessee has been talking to Jim Knowles, and they are expected to hire him as defensive coordinator for the Tennessee Volunteers. So Jim Knowles will be Tennessee's defensive coordinator next year in Knoxville, Tennessee. Very, very interesting in the SEC right there. They fixed the defense in a big move, and Jim Knowles is a really solid defensive coordinator. He was a really good defensive coordinator at Ohio State. It may have not been a huge thing at Penn State, but he can do really well at Tennessee. Well, you just got to wait and see. I think he's a good defensive coordinator. I really do. This time last year, or not really this time last year, it was in January, my bad. January of 2025, we were talking about how it was a lateral move for him to take the money to go to Penn State. I don't know if it's a lateral move or not. Maybe a lateral move now still, but I'm going to say this. I think Tennessee landed a good one. I think Tennessee will be much improved on defense next year. He's a really good coordinator. He calls really good defensive plays. He's a guy that you want to play defense for, or you want to play on defense for, and I think that Tennessee nailed it with Jim Knowles going to Tennessee. So that's my thoughts on that coordinator hire. And then the last but not least in the coaching carousel is South Carolina's offensive coordinator. They've gone through 3 to 4 offensive coordinators the past few years, and it's been very interesting to see. So Shane Beamer may have hit a home run with this because I think if they didn't have a solid offense next year, I don't know what would have happened. I don't know what was going to happen with Shane Beamer for 2027 and beyond. I really don't, because this hire was huge, and it's very big. And I think they nailed it. South Carolina is hiring TCU offensive coordinator Kendall Briles, son of Art Briles, to be their offensive coordinator in South Carolina. I think that's going to be very interesting. Very interesting. He provides the veer and shoot offense, which is going to be very exciting, up tempo, and you can, mixture of balance and run. Yes, I think South Carolina is going to look more dynamic on offense with Kendall Briles calling plays for them, for the Gamecocks. So that could be a very underrated offense next year that a lot of people are kind of sleeping on now. But when you get into 2026 and they bring in the right guys and recruit the right guys there through the portal, or have recruited, use some of those guys that they got from, early national signing day. Yeah, South Carolina's offense can be very criminally underrated. We'll see what happens, though. Now, is this hire enticing enough to kind of keep a lot of the talk of Lenore Sellers leaving South Carolina? Will Lenore Sellers stay? I think that this is a move to where this could be enticing enough for Lenore Sellers to not enter the portal and just stay at South Carolina another year to then enter the draft in 2027. Because let's face it, I don't think he should go pro this year, obviously. A lot of people are thinking, well, before the season started, a lot of people thought that Lenore Sellers could have gone pro. I think how the season played out, he needs to stay another year, 100%. I just don't think right now he should transfer. I think I would wait it out with Kendall Briles and see what happens with him as quarterback under his offense. I think he can provide a really good offensive game plan centered around Lenore Sellers, and I think South Carolina can be a really good team and a good enough offense to watch out for next year. So let's just see what happens. I think Lenore Sellers should stay, but hey, I'm not Lenore Sellers. I'm not him. I'm not where I don't know where he's at right now, so I don't know this stuff. It's only up to two people. Well, two things, the Lord and Lenore Sellers. So we'll see what happens there. But South Carolina hires Kendall Briles. Going to be very interesting to see what happens there, as they finally get their offensive coordinator for 2026 and potentially beyond maybe. That's the latest on the coaching carousel. What a bombshell, right? What a bombshell of what's going on in the land of college football. Man, we're probably going to have about a 30 to 35-minute episode this coming up on Thursday, man. It's not going to be a lot to talk about. I mean, we could talk about, some, but we're going to have more content next week and more on the show. But let's talk about Army and Navy really quick before we get into our Heisman Trophy ceremony and finalists and who I think is going to win the trophy. Well, overall in this game, I think the key for both teams, for Army and Navy, I think is the question of Army, at least, can they stop Navy's offense? Can they stop their rushing offense? Navy's a really good football team, man. They're a really good football team this year. And at 3 Eastern, 2 Central, they got to go to play Army and show, hey, we're in this rivalry game that we can win this game. Navy's 9-2, and Army is 6-5. But it's unpredictable. You never know what happens. You really don't. You never know what happens. Army last year lost to Navy 31-13. And Army was a really good team. Now, this year, it could be the total opposite. Because Navy's a really good team, and Army could end up shocking them. It's an unpredictable game. It's a rivalry game. It's always going to be this is how football works. You're either going to have a blowout some years, a really close game some years, by either team. It doesn't matter. It's just how it happens. It's just how it happens. I think the key is, can Army stop the run against Navy? I don't think they can. I got Navy winning the ball game. I think Navy's going to win outright, and I think Navy will win 24-14. I think it's a 10-point win for Navy. Does it? Navy 24, Army 14, and Navy gets the win in Baltimore coming up on Saturday, and Navy wins the Army-Navy rivalry for this year. Last but not least, before we wrap up Pigskin Frenzy, we have about, 6 to 5 minutes left of the episode. Let's talk about the Heisman Trophy. It's the most prestigious individual award in college football. A lot of people are going to want me to have my thoughts on this and make a claim for each of the candidates. Then, well, we could start with Julian Sayin. I mean, he's the most efficient quarterback in college football right now. Ohio State's quarterback, Julian Sayin. He has done quite well in every game that he's played in. I just don't know, because the caliber of competition that he has faced, yes, and not only that, he does have a loaded team around him too. It is kind of different from the others in this race. So I think Julian Sayin deserves to be there 100%. Will he win it? I am not sure on that, but it's kind of tricky because he is a really good quarterback, really efficient. Do I think he can be a Heisman winner in the future? Yes. I just don't know if it's going to be this year or not. You got Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame, the running back, star power running back from Notre Dame. Most likely will win the Doak Walker Award. I think Ahmad Hardy has a case for that award, though. That's a whole other different conversation. But Jeremiah Love, man, what he has done this year has been truly remarkable. Putting up between either 100 to 200, even 240 plus yards on the ground in certain games. And he has done quite remarkable, man. He has run the rock all over every defense this year. He's been powerful, dynamic, and he's been the best playmaker for Notre Dame's team this whole season. He is kind of what gets that Notre Dame offense ticking, obviously. And he has had a dynamic season. And I knew Jeremiah Love was going to have a dynamic season. I predicted that during the summer. I thought that he was going to have a really good season. I thought he could probably win the Doak Walker Award, and I predicted him as an early Heisman finalist, and I got that one right because he is a Heisman finalist. He's a solid running back, probably the best running back in the sport, and he deserves to be in New York. Don't know if he's going to win it or not, but we'll see. Then you got Fernando Mendoza, who I said in September 23rd for Indiana that that the Heisman hype was real. He really did good against Illinois. Him and Illinois, they blew out Illinois, did really good against Illinois, and then he was, competing in each and every game and dropping dimes each and every game, winning these games with clutch Heisman moments. And not only that, he went into Autzen Stadium and helped beat Oregon by 10 plus. So that's a really good football team. He's a really good quarterback. He's also responsible for putting two daggers, not just one, but two daggers in Ohio State in the Big Ten championship game. He's a really good quarterback. He's had really good numbers this year. I think he's probably the two that got a legit shot in this, and I think he could probably win it as well. And then you got Vanderbilt quarterback Diego Pavia. Diego Pavia, man, is an absolute dog to these defenses in the SEC. He has done quite well this year. He came back with a vengeance. He played well last year, came out with a vengeance this year, and he has played lights out in almost every game he's played. He dropped 400-plus yards against Texas's defense. And Texas's defense is no slouch. Yes, he did kind of underwhelm against Missouri. Yes, he did kind of underwhelm against Alabama, but he played really good against Texas. And in a lot of the games that mattered, he played really well in. He beat Tennessee in Neyland in Knoxville, like he said he was going to do. And he's putting up great numbers doing it. If you look at his numbers, I don't have all the numbers pulled up, but if you look at his numbers, they're quite insane. I believe his numbers are, if I'm not mistaken, he's got like 3,000 plus total yards, and he's got 30 plus total touchdowns out of everything or everybody. If I believe, I just think his stats are really, really good. His numbers are good, and he deserves to be in New York. If Diego Pavia, if you want to define valuable player, because if the award is about, it is an individual award, I get it, but you also have to win behind the award too. Diego Pavia has done both of that. If it wasn't for Diego Pavia, I don't think Vanderbilt would be where they are. And I'm not trying to say nothing against Clark Lee and everything. Clark Lee is a SEC Coach of the Year once again, and he deserves to be. He has done very well the past 2 seasons at Vanderbilt, and he is doing great things, recruiting well, and he's got another quarterback coming in Jared Curtis coming in. He is doing really well as their head coach. I'm not saying that, but Pavia, man, if it wasn't for Pavia this season, I think there were some of those games they could have lost. I am being for real. They can win 11 games. That's the first time in my lifetime that I've seen Vanderbilt win 11 football games in a single season. This is their first 10-win season in program history. This could be their first 11-win season in program history if they win the Rely Quest Bowl against Iowa. And Pavia, I believe, will most likely play that game. So we'll see what happens. But overall, who do I have winning the Heisman Trophy? I'm going to go with Diego Pavia on this one because I was leaning. It's either going to be Pavia or it's going to be Fernando Mendoza. I think Mendoza. Would I be shocked if Fernando Mendoza won it? No, because I made the claim in the case for Fernando Mendoza to win it. So I sort of called him being in New York as well. But a lot of my gut and my feeling is literally trending towards a Diego Pavia Heisman win. I think a lot of it's trending towards him winning because a lot of the hype has been around him here recently, and the feeling that I'm getting, I feel like the shift it's favoring Pavia right now. So I think Vanderbilt's probably going to have its first Heisman winner, and they're going to have Diego Pavia win that Heisman Trophy come Saturday. So I'm going to go with Diego Pavia to win the Heisman Trophy on Saturday, followed probably by Fernando Mendoza, and then Jeremiah Lover, Julian Sayin as well. But we'll see what happens. But I think Diego Pavia will probably end up taking home the Heisman Trophy come Saturday. That is my prediction for the Heisman Trophy. Do not quote me on that. But I know y'all wanted me to break that down, so I did break that down. A lot is happening in the sport of college football. Man, we got a lot to talk about coming up next week, and we are out of time. A big thank you for taking some time out of your Thursday to just sit back, watch, and listen to some college football coverage presented by me. If you're watching on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, like each episode, leave comments down below. Spotify, Podbean, and Apple. All you got to do is just share around with others and follow on there as well. X and Instagram is at Pigskin_Frenzy. Follow up the pages there. Then you're going to get the website, www.pigskinfrenzy.weebly.com. Guys, we love you all, and we're praying for you all, guys. Coming up on Tuesday, we have Bowl Mania predictions. We're going to predict all the bowl games with our very special friend of the show, Savannah 2J, daughter of NC State offensive line coach Garrett 2J. She is joining the show to preview and predict our bowl games. We got that. We'll talk about our guest picker on Tuesday coming up for next Thursday's episode, because next Thursday we are previewing and predicting the college football playoff first round games, who's most likely to get upset in these games, and we're going to talk about the playoff field as well next Thursday. Our first round games start then, and we'll talk about that next Thursday. So that is our week next week. And a quick announcement, following that Thursday, that whole week is Christmas and going into New Year's. So most likely we will not, well, I know for a fact that we will not be here for Christmas. We will have no show on that Tuesday, and no show on that Thursday. So we are off the entirety of Christmas week and taking a break. So you will get our recap, and you will get our recap coverage from Bedtime College Football Talk on X. So go and follow me on X at Pigskin_Frenzy. You will get that on X when we talk about the college football playoff first round coming up. When we do the college football playoff games, we will recap those games on X. And then most likely we will recap the quarterfinal games on X as well. And then we will return in early January, getting ready for the semifinal and the end of the season then. So no Pigskin Frenzy coming up on Christmas week. This will be the final, most likely the final show of 2025. Maybe coming up next Thursday. So we will see what happens then. But that is our announcement at the end of the episode. No shows on Christmas week, guys. But we're going to have shows next week, and we are super pumped for what's happening next week. Like I said, Bowl Media preview and predictions with Savannah 2J. Then we got our guest picker for the college ball playoff coming up. We will post that and talk about that next week, during the week, next week, and we will promote him next week on Pigskin Frenzy and on social media as well. Guys, until Tuesday, I'm Joel Norris. We're signing off. Guys, thank you for joining us. I am Joel Norris once again signing off. Keep on plugging into Pigskin Frenzy. Enjoy this weekend. Going to be very, very chilly. Guys, we love you all. We're praying for you all. We will see you back here on Tuesday. Enjoy the Heisman Trophy ceremony. Enjoy Army and Navy. Guys, as always, stay the course.